Welcome. Today I want to talk about the power of forgiveness. When we forgive, we set ourselves free. And when we are free, we are open for new opportunities in life. Forgiving is the best gift you can ever give yourself. If you're able to forgive every single person that has ever done anything to you that you consider to be evil, unfair, or heartbreaking, you will be set free. You will feel light. It will feel like a heavy burden has been lifted out of your body. It is the best feeling ever. Forgiveness is truly freeing. And how do we forgive? We forgive by telling the person we forgive them, or asking that person to forgive us, and then finally forgive ourselves. Not in real life, but inside our own minds. It really depends on how you look at it. If you see the world as separate from you, or if you see the world and the people in it as part of you, if you think of a person that you need to forgive as outside yourself, a person that is disconnected from you, then my suggestion is to forgive that person. Create a mental picture of that person standing in front of you and tell that person that you forgive them, and mean it. It might take some time to get to meaning what you actually say mentally to this person. But let us also dive a little bit deeper when it comes to forgiveness. Because when you hate someone or hold a grudge against a person, who is suffering? You are. Who cringes every time that person's name is mentioned? You are. Whose energy is spent on holding that grudge? Your energy is. Energy that could be used for so many other things, good things for yourself and for others. In reality, I would say the only person you have to forgive is yourself. This can be a little bit hard for us to see because we like to blame others. But I think we can all understand that blaming other people doesn't solve our own problems. And the only one that suffers is the person doing the blaming. So when we choose to blame others, we impose suffering onto ourselves. And in that sense, we are creating our own suffering. We don't have to accept the behaviors of other people. If someone has hurt you in a way, physically or mentally, no way do you have to be okay with such behavior. But in order to move on in life, you are far better off if you forgive them for everything they have done, and you forgive yourself for the mental suffering you have caused yourself for holding on to it. We humans are capable of the most horrendous acts of physical and mental violence because many of us believe we are separate from one another. But that type of behavior never comes from a person who is happy, content, and loving. We never have the full story of others. We can't know how they ended up to act in the ways they do or did. We often make a lot of stories up in our own mind of how things got to be the way they were. Again, we can't know unless we can become that person and think their thoughts, feel their feelings, believe their beliefs, and have their memories. The only thing we are able to control is how we choose to react. By forgiving, we release that energy that is stuck inside our body and hinders us from living the life we want. Maybe you've heard of the practice of Ho'oponopono, where a certain mantra is derived from, which goes like this: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It is a mantra to be used for forgiveness. Try this mantra out when you want to forgive yourself or someone else for something. It comes from a state of being where one takes responsibility for everything that occurs in one's life, including what occurs in the outer world. When one does this practice, one should look for the feeling of hurt within oneself and repeat this mantra, feeling the feelings of the words spoken. I invite you to try it out right now. Think of a person that you hold a little bit of a grudge against. Now don't pick the person you have the most severe resentment for now anyway. You can work on that later. But for this practice, pick a person that pissed you off a little bit in some matter. It could be a colleague, a not so nice friend, a relative, someone at the coffee shop, or a politician. What do I know? Think of that person standing in front of you. In front of you now is a person that, just like you, once was born, became a child, learned about life through parents and other children, has probably cried, laughed, been scared, angry, sad, joyful, hateful, resentful, loving at different times throughout life. Now look for the feeling of hurt within yourself that this person brought up for you. And repeat these words. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Repeat them one more time and feel the feeling. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. If you did this and felt the feeling of the words spoken, you should feel a little different than before. If you enjoyed it, then be sure to use this practice more and for other people in your life as well. If you have a lot of anger towards a certain person, it might take many times of doing this practice before you can fully let go. But you will find that as long as you can truly feel the words you speak, it will be easier and easier for every time you try. If it feels really weird to say the words I love you to a person that you just have too much resentment for, then alter the mantra a bit to something like this. I forgive you. I release it. Be free. I send you love. Use words that feel best for you in order to get the emotion you want out of it. It's supposed to be a feeling of relief. The thing is, when we dig a bit deeper within ourselves, we find that it is a certain feeling within ourselves we need to send love and release. It's actually not about the other person. It is all about what it brought up in us. For example, a feeling of unworthiness, a feeling of I deserve better, a feeling of hopelessness, etc. And I totally understand if you were to say, I can't be held responsible for what all people around me do. And of course, you can't put that burden on yourself. But for all that it's worth, don't punish yourself by holding on to resentment. Forgive yourself and others so that you can live your best life. This mantra on forgiveness goes very much hand in hand with the learning to love yourself more by not resisting unwanted thoughts and emotions. We often talk about how we can transform our mind by positive affirmations and choosing good thoughts instead of negative ones. And that is all very well and a good thing to do to override negativity in our own mind. But at times we will find ourselves being stuck on a certain emotion or thought pattern, and no matter how many positive thoughts we try and think on the matter, it keeps coming back. Then we can use this practice. So instead of resisting, but welcoming these feelings and sending them love and forgiveness until you feel relieved for the moment. Then you move on with your day, and if the feeling turns up again, observe it and welcome it. Send it love. I hope you got some useful information out of this video. That's all I had for now. And remember to always love yourself first. By doing so, you give the rest of the world permission to love you too.